Hello, Florence. Thank you for sending me your videos. I love your facility. What a nice field. What a nice jump field, especially. Felix also looks fantastic. So I've edited some video clips in here with some freeze frames to show you when he's in a position that's close to the ideal position that we would like him to take. Then I have some clips of me doing the straightness work so that I can explain some of the details of the methods. So here Felix looking quite nice. You have him in a nice shape. He's thinking of reaching down a bit. You have him in a really thinking state of mind. He's not sure what's going on, but he's like, huh, this is interesting. On the circle to the left, you have him in a nice shape with a nice bend. The circle might be a little bit small. You might want to work on something a little bit larger, but he clearly understands you. You guys clearly have a good communication going. He's willing to adopt a nice shape for you, and he's quite willing to try to figure out what you want. Here again, he's getting a nice surge down. He has a nice reach. What we're going to have you do is use the whip to influence his hind leg. That's the S part of the stepping on under. But you do a pretty good job of getting him organized on the front there. Now, in the next clips, Lucky and I are going to start out in the standstill exercises. And what I want to highlight for you here is the beginning of what they call the ask, yield, give, search. Which mostly requires very clear pressure and release. So I'm going to ask Lucky to yield his head and neck down, ask him with a tiny signal, and as soon as he gives me any response, I'm going to open my hand and release the pressure. So make it very clear that I asked for something, he gave it to me, and I release. So ask for a little and release a lot. Again, there, when I took his head and stelling to the right, I open up my hand. So apply a little pressure, ask for something, and then release. Now, when Lucky and I go to start the circle, the position you want to set yourself up in is with your leading hand holding on either onto the clip at the cavesson or very close to it, and the other hand, the driving hand, holds the whip. And you're going to be facing almost sideways to the horse here so that you can scan him continuously. So you are walking forward, but really with your shoulder open so that you can scan the whole horse's body. And this is something we call the ask, yield, give, search. So as Lucky and I walk around in a circle, we are going to have a conversation. I'm going to slide my hand up there because the lead got longer, and I'm going to close my hand around the clip. I'm going to ask him to yield his nose, and then when he does, I'm going to give the contact, and he will be a nice good boy here by demonstrating a nice search downward for me. So I close my fingers on the clip. I ask him to yield his nose. When he does, I let go and he searches down. Ask, yield, give, search. So there I ask, he yields, I open my hand and he gives. Now he then sticks his nose back out, but that's okay. We go back and we try again. That's a nice search. It's a bit low, but he's giving me a search down, so I'm not going to complain. Now we're going to come up for a stop here, and we really want the stop to be as much on intention as possible. So not by tightening up around his nose and attempting to get him to stop from his nose. The hand that holds the clip by the cavesson, we want to just address the shape of his head and his neck, and not going to use it so much as a stop and start tool. We get ready to go to the right. I'm going to ask him to yield his head to a little bit of pressure on the cavesson. I'm going to ask him to rock back. I was Lucky was very determined to keep leaning forward here, so I keep rocking him back and he keeps determinedly leading him forward. I probably needed to back him up some more and organize his feet to be a little bit more square, but he yields quite nicely. The stelling is just a small articulation of the first joint right behind the horse's skull. And once again, as we prepare to go to the right, I'm going to hold the clip right by his nose, Then I'm going to hold with my other hand, hold the whip, talk to his back end, and he and I are going to walk off together. Not so much me driving him, not so much me pulling him, but horse and handler walking off in unison. You're going to use the whip hand to influence the hind leg so that it steps under the center of mass. Here, I ask Lucky to yield and to search. He keeps a nice bend. I open my hand. Now, they have 4 pillars in this program. One of them is liberty. The expectation is that you're going to build this up to be able to have this kind of influence on the horse without the lead rope. So keep that in mind. Here, Lucky's going to petition for a cookie. That we're trying to build a contact that can develop really into a cue system. So we're always trying to find the way to release and build up the communication. Eventually, we'd like to be able to have this influence on the horse without actually having the lead rope attached. So leading hand right up by the clip, release often. As I come to the halt here, I get left behind a bit. So what I'm going to do, as opposed to knocking him over, is I'm just going to use a verbal cue and use my in inertia. Then I'm going to do ask, yield, give here, which he does very nicely for me. And he did a nice stop there, much better than he would if I had attempted to stop him by pulling on his nose. So that's the basics. There's a 4-step formula of ask, yield, give, search to create the LFS, lateral bend, forward down, and stepping under on the circle. Leading hand up on the clip by the cavison, whip hand cueing his hind leg, and your head continually scanning his body as you walk around the circle. I will send you another video that has a few more details on the stelling.